Hey, what's up? This is Jack Wallen. I'm here for zOctober, hosted by the great Tony Lasatz. Let's give it up for her. Nice, slow clap for Tony, everyone. Thank you very much. No, seriously. Thank you for hosting this event. It's awesome. I hope everybody's having a great time. I am Jack Wallen, the author of the iZombie series, which includes such titles as I Zombie I, My Zombie My, Die Zombie Die, Cry Zombie Cry, Lie Zombie Lie, The Last Casket, Tricked Ya, and T-0. Oh, and we cannot forget Zombie Radio. I was asked to post something for the event, and I decided instead of writing something out that I would create a little bit of a video for everyone to enjoy. So, here it is. Thank you very much. One of the biggest questions I get asked most of the time when people find out I am a writer of horror is why horror? It's a legitimate question. Take, for example, the whole of literature. When you kind of spread it all out, you quickly discover that horror literature is the bastard stepchild, often relegated over to the corner of the room and even sometimes shoved into a closet so all of us creepy crawlies can mingle about one another. Because most of the people, the average human being, is afraid of us all because we're all so creepy. I kid. We're not all creepy. Some of us are just normal people. Anyway, why write horror? Well, first and foremost, I have been a fan of horror since I was a little tiny kid. I remember my very first introduction to horror was the movie Gorgon. I remember watching the screen. I may have just been out of diapers, but seeing the snakes coming out of that woman's hair. And I remember being so afraid that my mom was going to come into my bedroom and lean over my bed while I was asleep, and the snakes would come out of her head. Well, it never happened. And I kept coming back. Vincent Price and Bela Lugosi. The whole cast and crew of horror sucked me in. Next thing I know, I'm looking forward to Halloween more than Christmas. And then all of a sudden I grow up. Well, I don't really grow up. I get older. And I'm writing. And when I first started writing, I decided I was going to write thrillers first because I wanted to make sure that my writing skills were honed when I decided to finally dive into horror. And I did. It took me about 3 books. And I finally decided. I woke up one morning with a question in my mind. And that question was, what would it feel like to become a zombie? What would it hear like? And what would it taste like and smell like? The only way to answer that question was to write the book iZombie I. But still, why? Why horror? When I could set about writing romance or erotica. You know, those books that sell like crazy. Well, as an author, what I want to do, most of all, is I want to take the mirror and hold it back up to society and say, look at us. We are truly the most horrific monster on the planet. We are capable of more evil and more horror than any other creature. And why zombies? Well, zombies are the perfect metaphor for the human being, for being sucked into corporate culture or consumerism. It's perfect. It's ideal. There are so many layers you can add to the zombie fiction. And that's what draws me to it. I like a good metaphor. Who doesn't like a good metaphor? On top of which, it's one of the few genres that Hollywood, yes, I'm talking to you, hasn't ruined. Yes, it tried with Warm Bodies, and it almost succeeded. But Hollywood has yet to make the zombie sparkle. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't happen now. Anyway, that's why I write zombies. I love it. On top of which, fans of horror fiction, fans of horror in general, are some of the most rabid and wonderful fans out there. Go to a horror convention and watch them. They love horror. They eat it up. It permeates everything they are. And I love that about them. And without them, I wouldn't be doing what I do. And I'm very grateful for that, believe me. Every day I get to do what I love. And I love what I do. And no, I'm not going to give in and start writing erotica or romance. Why? Because if I tried, it would eventually turn into something dark anyway, and people would be reading it thinking they're getting their happily ever afters, and they simply fucking wouldn't. That's why I don't write erotica and romance, because it would eventually turn into horotica, or horromance, horromance. That's my next genre, bitches. Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. Thank you, Tony, for putting together zOctober. And thank you, everyone, for being fans of horror. Continue supporting your indie artists, whether they be writers, musicians, painters, dancers, everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace out, everyone.